Well, good morning guys, hope you're all doing well. So as you can see, we've come back to this location again and we're trying to get everything done before the crowds arrive. It's now the weekend. This is our third visit back to this area, but it's a really busy place, so we've had to get up at about 5 o'clock this morning. We've come into the forest. We need to grab these couple of shots before people start flooding in, because it's really difficult to get anything at that point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the camera set up on my first composition, get you to the back of the camera and walk you through it. Now we have fantastic conditions again this morning. Obviously it's a rainforest, and guess what it's doing? It's absolutely raining up the top there, but what's nice about it, although it's raining, we're not getting any rain falling in this underneath this canopy down here, so it's really nice to work in. You can also see that we've got a nice lighting as well. There's no harsh highlights or anything like that. It's just really beautiful reflected light coming on those mosses and everything. Right, so hopefully what you should see is I've got the strip pano set up, because I think this scene really lends itself to that format really well. I'm underexposing by about a stop, and that's just for my own benefit, to make sure I'm not blowing anything out, although the lighting is that soft and it's quite dark in here at the minute, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem anyway. But it's just to be on the safe side. It's my first exposure, so just making sure. It's really flat conditions in here today, so we've got no wind, there's no air moving through here, so we've got no problem about worrying about shutter speeds or anything like that. I can do a long exposure in here and it's not going to affect it at all. So with that in mind, I'm at ISO 100, f16, and I'm at 25 seconds for this first exposure. Now what you'll see with this frame is I've got this lovely strip pano, and I've got all these mossy trees, and I'm separating them out as much as I possibly can here. So what I've got the focus point in, or what I did have it in before I hit the, there we go, before I hit the screen, is I'm just above that third of the way in mark on the bottom of the frame there, and I'm focusing in on that tree that's in the centre of all the rest. I've got good separation in between each tree there, and there's lots of that reflected light on each of the trees, especially the one at the very back there, which leads the eye through really nicely, I think. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab this first shot, and as I say, 25-second exposure. If it all turns out well, here's the shot. Now the point of coming back here for me is one of two things. Because it was so busy, it was just impossible to work with, because there was just people everywhere, and I didn't want those people in my shots. I didn't want to have to clone them out. I wanted to keep it as natural as possible. On top of that is the reason why we've come back 3 times, is because not only did we want to come back for better conditions, which we've got today, but also because the more times you visit an area, the more times you have a shot framed up, you know what you want from the shot. And the first shots I took, when I looked at them, I brought them up on screen, I could see that I didn't have good separation between this tree here and the one in the background. They were overlapping like that, and it was annoying me. So coming back this third time, it's allowed me to move across just that little bit, and that's allowed me to get better separation in between each tree. And I think that makes for a much better composition. There we go. So with this shot again, it's a strip pano format. I just find this is working so well in these mossy trees. It just really stands out to me as a really nice format for this. What attracted me to this scene is if you can see in the background, almost in the centre part of the frame, there's almost like an archway that leads through, and there's 2 other trees in the background doing this. And that really attracted me, because it's a lighter part of the frame back there, and it's actually drawing the eye into the frame. Now the bits I don't like about it are obviously on the right hand side of the frame over here. You can maybe just see that there's some messy branches just on this right hand side. Now there's nothing I can do to eliminate those. I've tried moving around both left and right in here, and it's just something I have to accept. The other thing that bugs me slightly is on this left hand side. You can see these two trees that are on the left of the frame. They're kind of overlapping slightly, and it would have been nicer to get more separation between them, but again, nowhere I can move here is gonna make that work properly for me. I'll just bring this screen back up because it's just disappeared. Hang on. Yeah, so basically it's all about just if something's attracting me to this frame, I still want to take it, even though I've got things that are really annoying me. I'm still going to take the shot because this part actually really stood out to me. Now I've also, the day before there, I took a couple of different shots. I went in tighter and closer, and that eliminated some of these distractions on the right. It also eliminated a couple of the distractions on the left, but it doesn't eliminate the fact that I've still got those overlapping trees. But hey, there's still lots I do like about the frame, so it's definitely worth taking the shot. So I'm focusing in on that third tree in from the left there, just above the lower third. I've got that lovely light in the background there. Again, I'm at ISO 100, f16, doing a 13-second exposure, and I'll grab the shot. So this was another shot that I really liked in this area, and I took this the other night. Well, it was actually the first night that we came here. And what attracted me to it originally was this foreground, and it's absolutely beautiful with this tree trunk, and it's all open at the bottom, and I think it works really well as a foreground. The problem I had is, and I'll pop the image up that I actually took, is the background is messy and distracting. When I got it up on screen, I mean, I thought it was going to work here, but when I got it up on screen, it actually just, there was too much going on, there was too much happening back there. And unlike the shot I took before with the archway and those two trees behind it, there's no one element that just kind of leads the eye through. It just leads the eye into a big mess. So that's the reason why this image really didn't work for me. Well, good morning guys, hope you're all doing well. We went into a place called Hoh Rainforest this morning, and I was hoping to get a few images of the mossy trees that were in there this morning. Now we also went there last night. You also have to ignore the noise because we're right next to a road, so these cars are just going to keep coming through. So yeah, we went there last night to check it out. There was the trees are absolutely stunning through there, but there was a lot of people. I mean, there was loads, so it was really difficult to do anything. So we stayed there till quite late last night because it kind of got quieter as the night went on. But we went in there again this morning, and the light was quite harsh. So we've actually come back out now. If you can hear any of this. We've actually come back out now, and on the way out there's actually some more mossy trees. So we've stopped by the roadside here, and there's some absolutely beautiful moss hanging from these trees right above the road here. And I've actually got a shot lined up now. I want to kind of walk you through it. So I'm going to get you to the back of the camera and show you the screen here. And I can see I've got it aligned as a square crop. You're just going to have to ignore this noise because it's not going to stop. I've kind of got my focus point about a third of the way into the scene, square crop, and you can see that it's a lovely tree with a Y-shaped trunk, And you've got all that moss hanging down, which is really long on the left-hand side, and also the same on the right there. And behind that, you've got the other branches coming up behind. Now, I've kind of centralised the image because I wanted those branches to go out of each top corner. So they're going out of the left and out of the right top corners. And then the trunk comes right down the centre there. Now, the only issue I can really see on the back of here is that you've got that light hanging around on that just underneath the right hand branch there, which is quite distracting. So I don't know whether I'm going to have to either lighten that area and make something of it, or remove it altogether, maybe clone it out. I don't know yet, but that's the only thing that's really bothering me. Apart from that, I really like the image. I really like the way that the light's hitting. It's hitting more of the right hand side than it is the left, and lighting up that moss and highlighting it. And just to make the most of that, I've actually been popping a case filter on, the circular polarizer, and just popping that on just to get rid of any of those. You can see there's leaves just behind that tree there, and they're kind of catching a little bit of glare. So I'm just using the polarizer just to get that glare out of there, and just also saturate those greens a little bit more. And that's just helping there. So those leaves at the back of there, like I was saying, if I just turn this polarizer now, you can kind of see what I mean. If I turn it off there, you can see those leaves are just catching highlights and glaring quite a bit right where the tree has a U shape like that. So if I keep turning that, I can get rid of that glare, and it also boosts the saturation slightly. So that's not quite distracting on the eye anymore, to my eye anyway. And yeah, just grabbing the shot there. Now, I've had to kind of up my ISO to about 2,500 here, because I've got my shutter speed quite high, because I want to isolate that moss, because every time one of these vehicles comes past, it's adding to the draft and moving the moss up there. So I'm wanting to really freeze that motion. I'm at f11, 30th of a second, and ISO 2,500, and I'll just grab this shot now. So we were pretty lucky to find this place on the way out, because there was still fog in the valley, so the light was still quite nice in here. But as you can see now, it's come through, the sun's come through it all, and it's quite busy and not the easiest to deal with. So we're going to head out now, have a break for a while, and head back into Hoh Rainforest this evening, see if we can get better conditions than it seemed to be last night when we were in there. And then if that doesn't work tonight, we're going to head back in the morning as well and see what else we can make of it. But we're going to head out now, and I'll catch up with you in a little while.